I was thrilled whenever, to come to the Lions Club. I've actually spoken at a couple of Lions Club, particularly one in Princeton a few years back. It's kind of dear to my heart, the mission that you guys do. And I thought it'd be kind of interesting to share with you from the perspective of just one part of what you all do. And vision is just one component of part of the Lions Club. And so I want you to imagine the impact that you have on one family with one component of your mission. And when I finish with our journey, I want you to realize that if this is just one part of that, how much of an impact are you really making with your overall mission? So I want you to really focus on that. So I hope this is going to be a journey, and I want to just sort of take you on our journey. And so our journey started back in 1996, and Sarah, who you'll meet in a little bit, was 3 years old. Sarah was not a quiet child. Sarah was a bit cat on a hot tin roof kind of child. And we put her in a sunsuit one day. She didn't stand still for anything. Just cloth, no big deal. She wouldn't hold still trying to tie the bows, and the strap hit her in the eye. Didn't think anything about it. And as the day went on, it started getting red and watery, that type of thing. So took her to the Met clinic, and they gave her some drops, no big deal. Next day it was getting worse, took her to the emergency room. Emergency room gave her some drops, no big deal, it'll heal up. Well, time went on, wasn't getting any better, took her to the doctor. The doctor said, I think maybe she needs to see a specialist. So we sent her to the only pediatric specialist we had, and they treated her with more drops. Kept getting worse, and finally she started running into walls, falling, different things like that. And as mom, it's like, okay, something's wrong. So I call the doctor, we head on out, and they say, okay, we're gonna send her to Indianapolis. So they sent us to Indianapolis. Indianapolis takes a look, and they said, well, she's gonna need a transplant. That's it, she's gonna need a transplant. And we're gonna put her in, she's gonna be in a body cast. She's gonna be in a body cast for 6 months. And we're gonna put her in today. I said, no, you're not. We've been going through this too long. I want a second opinion. Well, it can't wait. I said, it's waited 6 months, it's gonna wait till I get a second opinion. And so on the way back, I called our physician. I said, I want a second opinion. He happened to have interned at Barnes Children's Hospital. So he called and he got us an appointment. We went to Barnes Children's Hospital, and they said, she very well may need a transplant, but until we know the root cause, there's no sense in doing a transplant, which that made sense. Long story short, the root cause was the chickenpox virus. And the chickenpox virus usually manifests itself as a fever blister, something like that. It rerouted to her eye. It is 100% curable if treated with antiviral medication. They were treating her with bacterial drops. She went blind. So at that point, we had no choice. We had to have a cornea transplant. She was 3 years old. So we were put on the donor waiting list. When it comes to tissue, like corneas, I don't know what it is now, but back then there was a 7-day procurement. So you had 7 days from the time a donor was available until you had to have the transplant or you would lose it. And they searched at that time for younger donors. Younger donors are harder because one of the things I try to speak about is educating people on organ and tissue donation for younger ones. You cannot wait until something happens with a younger child to have never thought about that. So it's something you have to already have in your mind to be an organ and tissue donor. So anyway, so we were put on the list. Our donor was 18 years old. We get a call on a Friday. They tell us to be in St. Louis Monday morning. So we're in St. Louis, and she goes in. I'm bawling all the way up to St. Louis. why me, why us, you know, the whole pity party thing. So we get in there, there's this big waiting room. And there's all these parents waiting for their children to have surgeries, kidney transplants, heart transplants, lung transplants. By the time it got around to me, they said, what are you here for? And I said, just an eye. You know, because the magnitude that they didn't know if their children were even going to come out of it. And so she goes through the surgery, we come out of it, and I go back and she's got the patch on, she's got the braces on, pathetic little thing. And long story short, we go through this travel, we have to stay in St. Louis. Okay, where do you think those corneas come from? Come from the eye bank. And the eye bank is funded by Lions. Okay, so over all of the work you do, just in that one area, funds the work that they do so that things like the tissue, there's 7 layers to a cornea, so that things like retinas, torn retinas, all of that type of thing, that is through the eye banks. And those eye banks, what you do here in Smith Mills, helped eye banks all over, even in St. Louis, where ours came from. And so that part of the impact is what I wanted you to know. Now, the success rate for a transplant is 5 to 8 years. She is on her 22nd year. She is the textbook case in Washington University. And you can see her listed in the book. She is 3-year-old Caucasian female. And that is her. And so, anyway, so she's one of the rare, I guess, statistics of having a transplant for that long. We were told our best hope was that she would be able to tell a cat from a dog. That was our best hope. She wouldn't drive. She really wouldn't be able to see distances. She might not even be able to see color. Well, she has 20/40 vision. She drives. She reads and transposes music. She graduated from the University of Evansville with her bachelor's degree in music performance. She graduated this past May from the University of Louisville with her master's degree in performance. And she drives, and it still scares me. And and that's just normal, I hear. And and the other thing I want to touch on is, as remarkable as the transplant is, the eyeglass program that you all have is phenomenal. Imagine a child whose life can be turned around by a simple pair of glasses. And believe me, they can, because without being able to see correctly, their attention span is limited. They can't learn, and they don't even realize why. And so your site recycle program that the Lions have is extremely valuable. The biggest limitation I see on that is that it's not as known as widespread as it should be of what you all do. And so I wanted to sort of touch on that, and I wanted to make this short and sweet, but I wanted to really speak from the heart and tell you guys how much you're appreciated and how much you do and the impact that you have on a single life. And if you can do that for a single life with all of your mission, you're impacting a lot of people and you're making a difference. And from my family to you, thank you. And now, with no further ado, I will introduce my daughter, Sarah Tooley, and she's going to play some music for you.